I'm Rob Boswell Brown. I've been brought up on this farm. My father bought this farm 54 years ago. I started working on this farm 25 years ago, mainly growing coffee, and we do dairy as well. It's actually called Craig Valley from a place where my father was brought up in the Lake Districts of England, and there was a river called the River Craig, and it sort of reminded him with the valley that we're in, a bit like Craig Valley. We've been tested hard with all the political strife we basically went through back in 2000 with the government land reform. We actually used to have another 2 farms over the hill over there. Those were acquired by government, forcefully acquired by government. One in 2001 and another in 2008. We actually see ourselves as lucky because we've been left with the third remaining farm, which we're on right now, Craig Valley. One of the reasons we've been left alone is that this was a core dairy farm, and the dairy farmers have been protected because of shortage of milk here, and so that's why we're here. We also do quite a lot of other we're quite useful in the community. The people see us as being useful. We run a school here. We've done quite a lot of small-scale consultancy work. That might be the other reason why we're still here. It's basically the production of dairy went down by about 80% through that land reform process, and we sell milk to Parastatal dairy processor, and they need the milk and the production, and there's a shortage, and instead of importing milk from South Africa, they want to process it here. Just recently we're actually importing some dairy heifers from South Africa through their scheme, which we hope is going to give us further immunity from this farm being taken. Well, we're in a sort of a good elevation, about 1,300 meters. We do not get frost. It's sort of subtropical, is quite a good sort of climate, and we're in a high rainfall area for this country. We can get up to 2 meters of rain some seasons, and it's just the whole of the Eastern Highlands. There's 2 main growing coffee areas, Chipinge, which is further south of us, and Vumba, which is suitable for coffee. Yeah, we traditionally did the SL28. We sort of all moved out of that at one stage because of fusarium and coffee leaf rust. And then we went into the Cattimore varieties, F6, and the Cattimore 128. We prefer the 128 for its resistance to leaf rust, and it's a bigger bean, bolder bean, and that's our main variety. We're also going out on trying other varieties again, Yellow Katukai and Red Katwai, where we're putting it on the areas where they're a lot hardier varieties, and we're putting them on the sort of areas where it's more difficult to irrigate. All of our coffee is irrigated. We can't grow dryland coffee any longer. We don't get the winter rains like we used to. I don't know whether it's through global warming or it's just a seasonal thing, but we're having to sort of not put all of our eggs in one basket, because who knows when there's going to be the next drought. Yeah, it's in full swing now. We've got a lot of coffee coming off at the moment. We're about 200 coffee pickers, and permanent and contract we've got another 100. So at the moment, yeah, we've got a big labour force of about 300 people. We've got about 100 families. A lot of their wives and daughters and sons all work here. As you might know, Zimbabwe has about an 89 or 90% unemployment rate right now, and everyone wants a job, and we prefer to employ people from our farm village and our community than bring in other people. Yeah, we basically go from the nursery right through to actually roasting coffee on the local market. Yeah, there's a lot of stages in between. Coffee, you know, it's a technical crop even to just get to the stage of the bean, but once you've got, you know, pulping and drying or fermenting, drying, then we've got to do the whole grading. We do all the export documentation ourselves now. So yeah, we kept pretty busy here, but we like to try and cut out the odd middleman and value add,
Okay, yeah.
to remain sustainable. Yeah, we're not entirely shade grown, but we are growing our shade trees on the contours. I think you might have had some footage of that. Those are shade trees. Those are grevilleas. They're actually a South American shade tree, but they grow fast and they grow straight, and their branches don't break off like some of the indigenous trees that we've tried using. And actually, you get a secondary use out of the timber. So you could get in contractors to take it out as a timber. Yeah. A coffee tree often does a lot of overbearing. In the sun, you might get a higher yield, but you're going to be compromised on quality quite often. A lot of biennial bearing, where you get a huge crop, and where you've seen this, we've had a few problems here this year. Those shade trees are not big enough yet, because they're in the first stage, the first 4 years of growth. Of some of our plantations, we've got shade trees that are 15 years old. Then you start seeing the impact of the shade, and sure, you get a much healthier coffee tree. It prefers a bit of shade. It's a forest shrub or bush, and it's a lot happier that way. Yeah, we've got about 150 hectares of forest we've preserved here. We've always liked to have a bit of it's good for microclimate. A lot of the areas where we've got forest on is too steep for doing any meaningful cultivation. And you know, as soon as you start chopping all the forests down, you don't get the rain. I mean, it's amazing. You get that isolated thunderstorm, it's going to land obviously on the forest because of the change in temperature compared to sort of scorched earth. We used to have leopards, but we don't have leopards any longer. We got a few duiker, baboons. We've got two types of monkeys. Simango monkey, which is a very common monkey. You'll find it anywhere, even in Harare. And then we got the Simango monkey, which is rare. It's actually an endangered species, and this is one of the few areas in the country where you'll find the Simango monkey.
Difficult question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. Look, I see all these African countries, they get right down to the rock bottom sometime along the line. I'm hoping we're near there, near the rock bottom, and things can only improve. Look, I've been optimistic, that's why I'm still farming. I mean, after 15 years of having to be resilient and continue on with all these complications we've had. The main one have been losing the farms and losing 60% of one's income. We still continue on, and you know, we've got a good labour force here, committed labour force. We live in a beautiful area. So yeah, I hope things will turn around. You know, in the country with the economy, and things will boom again like they did in the 90s. Yeah, we try where we can. We run a school. We've got 400 students at the school. We did all the building. We run a creche, nursery school as well. We've done small scale projects, and we're doing them. We actually have one guy fully employed who's helping them with their helping them out with advice. This project, which is quite close here in the Vumba, I'm hoping to actually take their coffee and blend it with mine, and then give them a much fairer price than what they're getting. And who knows, hopefully we can make up a container of small scale coffee.
Oh.
You know, and market it appropriately so they get a good price.
Yep. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
No problem. No, it's good to have you guys.
Thank you.